The 20s are a time for drastic change in our identities. In fact, our personalities change more in this decade than in any other period. And that is why in today's video, we are talking about how to figure out who you are and, more importantly, who you want to be in this big and sometimes overwhelming world. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Eva, and in this space we talk about how to level up and live our dream lives by discussing the principles of feminine energy, holistic wellness, and mindset. So if that is something that interests you, please consider subscribing and keep watching. Graduating from college and entering into the real world, for me, felt like I was navigating this ocean of uncharted waters. And I think this was because I no longer had these external influences telling me who I should be or what I should be doing. I no longer was hearing what my friends were studying or what my parents wanted me to do. I was simply just living my life and existing in the adult world, and for the most part living for me. And as I entered into this new phase in my life, I realized that what I thought I had wanted for my life and for my career wasn't necessarily what I wanted any longer. And so that was what begun this big journey of self-discovery for me, where I got very clear on what I wanted my dream life to look like and began to go full force ahead in bringing that into fruition. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about why the 20s are such a special time, how external influences play a role in our development, and then go into different strategies to understand ourselves better and create more independence, and then talk about different techniques to assess our personal beliefs, goals, fears, aspirations, etc. So let's jump in. If you've watched my other videos on feminine energy or similar topics, you already know that I'm big into reflection. So I had to bring it into this one. First things first, you need to reflect on who you are and where you're going. There's this quote that I love, and it goes like this: "Study the lives of those that have made an impact on the world, and you will find that in virtually every case, they spent a considerable amount of time alone thinking." A lot of this advice is going to suggest that you spend time alone. That way you don't have to worry about these external influences, people who I'm sure mean well, but are factoring into what they think you should do, when in reality, your life is about you. You've got to be selfish with this, because we are in relationship with ourselves for the longest. So you want to really make sure that the things that you're choosing and the path that you want to follow and the way that you want to live your life is truly for you. Not that other people can't fit into it, but at the end of the day, it has to bring you the most joy. So when it comes to reflecting on who you are and where you're going, to me, this looks like journaling and engaging in some deep inner work about various topics like, your fears, your self-perception, different childhood experiences, things that give you insight into what makes you who you are today and where you want to go. You have to obviously know who you want to be to then start putting that into action. Prompts to help you get started would be things like, what am I afraid about others finding out about me? What parts of my childhood make me feel angry or sad? And what memories have stuck with me? Again, that's just barely scratching the surface. I actually created a whole document with tons and tons of inner work questions that I used for myself when I was kind of going through this inner work journey. So if you're interested in that, just click the link in my description and you can get free access. But I'm starting strong with this one because it's really, really important that we sit down, take some time to actually reflect, put pen to paper, or, type it up. That works too. But just think about what you want your life to look like. And if you are struggling to figure out what you want your life to actually look like, what does that even mean? Well, that leads us into number 2, which is to use Pinterest for mood boards and visualization boards. I love Pinterest. Pinterest is one of my favorite apps. I use it every single day. Go follow my Pinterest, link below. But anyways, use Pinterest to visually represent the person you aspire to be. And I'm talking about everything from your environment, your style, to everything in between. How do you want your life to look? How do you want it to feel? What does this person dress like? How would this person talk? What activities would they engage in? Where would they live? Pinterest is so good with the aesthetics. Like if I go to my home feed, I'm gonna see pictures of girls frolicking through forests and having picnics together, home game nights. I'm gonna see lots of skirts and button-down shirts because that's kind of my personal style. But it speaks to me, and when I see that, it gets me excited because I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this is the life that I want to live. I want my life to become my Pinterest board. So if you're in the reflection stage and you're like, I don't know what I want my life to look like, go there, start there. When the topic of discovering yourself comes up, I feel like people always think about passion, right? And I was always one of those people that felt like I didn't have any passions. Like on those school questionnaires where they ask you, oh, what do you like to do in your free time? I was always like, I don't know, hang out with my friends, watch Netflix, and that was basically it. So if you're in that boat and you want to figure out who you want to be, then start by finding some hobbies. If you have no idea where to start and you're like, I don't know what I'm passionate about, think back to when you were a kid and think back to what you used to like to do, and then start by leaning into that. So for example, when I was a kid, I loved to make little home movies and little music videos, and well, look at me now. I'm starting this YouTube channel, and that was something that I rediscovered my love for. Just start experimenting with activities that spark passion and fluidity. So whether it's making scrapbooks, learning a new language, trying your hand at calligraphy, look for things that bring you joy and you can look forward to doing even if you're by yourself. I'm all for doing hobbies and activities with other people. Like if you love going to Pilates with a friend, that's all great. But again, this is a self-discovery journey. So you want to make sure that the hobbies that you're picking are things that you would also enjoy doing if you were just by yourself. This one is also really, really important, especially if you're keyed into the whole philosophy of feminine energy. I've made other videos about feminine energy, so I will link them above. But feminine energy values play and time for rest. Rather than doing this hustle culture, grind thing, feminine energy embraces the fact that we as women have a cyclical nature where there are seasons for rest and there are seasons to do more of that heavy grind work. And by having these hobbies that we can engage in, it allows us to embrace this play, to be light, happy, and get fulfillment from a source that's other than just work. You know, maybe it becomes your work, who knows? But it helps us to radiate this very magnetic energy. I also have a really extensive list of prompts in the same document where the journaling prompts are. So if you're still like, I don't know what my hobbies are and the things you did as a kid you hate now, then click that link and that could help you generate some ideas. An essential part of this journey of self-exploration is a meticulous examination of all aspects of your belief system. So start thinking about the underlying reasons, the why behind what you think. For example, if you were raised in a religious context, I want you to critically evaluate if those beliefs still hold true to what you know now. Same thing with political beliefs, overall philosophies of life. Just think about it. Like when we're kids, we are like sponges, so we soak up what's around us, and oftentimes the beliefs of those around us become our beliefs. But then when we become adults and become intentional about crafting a dream life that is right for us, we need to take a step back and evaluate this. I'm not saying you necessarily have to reach a separate conclusion. If you evaluate your religious, political, whatever beliefs and come out with the same conclusion, that's awesome. And if you come out with a different one, that's also fine. But the point is to really be able to stand firm for what you believe in, because if I were to ask you, why do you believe this thing? And all you could tell me was, oh, that's just what I've always been told, or something that's not really concrete, that's not what we want to have happen. We're creating our dream lives, and in our dream lives, it's intentional. Everything that we do, the way that we act, the people that we fill our lives with, it's all on purpose because we know what we want. So figure out what you actually believe in, because that's going to help you go after the things that you actually want. The last one is to diversify your friend group. And a lot of the other strategies we've been talking about have been mostly individual, right? Like reflecting, trying these different hobbies, evaluating your own beliefs. Those are all things that you do mostly on your own. But we as humans are social by nature, and it's good to be social. There are studies that have shown that having strong relationships is the #1 factor in preventing disease and all of these terrible health outcomes. So it's very important that we fill our lives with meaningful people and meaningful connections, but I want to give you some guidance as to how to go about doing that. I think that sometimes when we hang around the same people all of the time, we adopt their way of thinking a little bit subconsciously. And sometimes that's when groupthink comes out. Now, groupthink is a phenomenon observed in group settings where the desire for harmony or conformity leads to an irrational or dysfunctional decision-making outcome, oftentimes discouraging creativity or individual responsibility. So I'm not saying to abandon these people. I have a group of girlfriends that I love and we hang out all the time and I would never stop hanging out with them. But I'm saying in addition to a group that you might spend a lot of time with, I would say try to foster individual friendships as well, because then you're just seeing a different side of yourself and it's minimizing that potential for groupthink where we all think the same way about everything. Maybe you get really lucky and that's not even a concern with your friend group. I know for my friends, we're all very different in terms of our goals and what we want to achieve, but for whatever reason, it's very harmonious when we all come together. But at the same time, I still have a lot of other individual friendships that I make sure to prioritize, and I think overall it helps me be a well-rounded friend and a well-rounded person just for myself. Not only do you have to be intentional about surrounding yourself with people that are different, but be mindful of the energy that is being taken or given when you're around certain people. So just make sure you're surrounding yourself with uplifting people. If you're leaving environments where you're spending time with your friends and you feel very drained all the time, or maybe a little bit more down, you don't feel too good about yourself, take note of that and perhaps remove yourself from that situation, because we don't have any time for negative energy when we're out there creating our dream lives. It's busy. We have things to do. Over the past 12 months, I really went from having no idea what I wanted and who I wanted to be to now still not feeling 100% certainty, because I don't know if we ever have that, but feeling much more clear about what I believe in, what I stand for, and where I want to go. And I account a great deal of this to sitting down, spending time with myself, and just simply looking within. It can be scary, especially if you're an extrovert like me who loves to be around other people, but simply taking the time to get to know myself better has been monumental in creating the life that I'm currently living. And I'm always thankful for my circumstances. I try to find gratitude in it all, but I can truly say that the life that I am creating right now feels so aligned with who I want to be and who I'm becoming. So if you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you found the information useful. I'll continue to keep posting, so please again consider subscribing if you haven't, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.